Welcome back to the Jimmy Skull 68 podcast. Yeah, last night, that shit stunk. Anyways, I'm gonna get to, before I get to the points, I'm obviously not in my regular location for podcasting. That's because I moved to a new place. So I'm still looking for a new, setup spot. I might go to the garage, might do it upstairs. Don't know yet, but this is makeshift. Okay, now back to the game. Oh my lord, that was not fun at all. I have not had fun, that is the worst Vikings game I've watched since the 2023 Raiders game that was 3-0 that we ended up winning because Hunter Renfrow fumbled. Anyways. Oh my lord, there's a lot to talk about. But I'm only going to focus on just a few things here. We'll start with the big one. It's J.J. McCarthy. He did not have one good quarter of football. Dare I say he had zero. I was at the Monday night game last week against the Bears when it was 3 quarters of slop. And then the fourth quarter came and everything turned around. Last night I was kind of hoping to see that, but in the pit of my stomach, I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. And it didn't. Whoa. The Vikings did not score a touchdown last night. They got all the way down to the 2-yard line and got penalties, fumbled, brought them back. They kicked a field goal. That would end up being their last score of the game. The O-line was atrocious. The Falcons got to JJ at will, so I will say you can blame JJ for a lot of that, but a lot of it falls on the O-line. Backup center, third string left tackle. It was miserable out there, and I like watching the O-line play, so I would hone in on those guys, and you could just watch. They were just outmatched. Brian O'Neill didn't look great either. We really need Darisaw next week against the Bengals. That's another home game next week. Hopefully we can score a touchdown for the home fans. What a waste of money if you went to the game last night. The fans were loud and rowdy, and the Vikings couldn't do anything. I'll give the Falcons credit, but at the same time, Michael Penix did nothing special. Bijan Robinson is a stud. But the Falcons are not that good of a team. They're a fringe playoff team, maybe. The NFC South is ran by the Bucs. But yeah, the Falcons did nothing to win that game other than, Bijan did, and their D-line destroyed us. But, sorry, not to make excuses here, but I am salty, and I always will be salty, and I don't give a fuck. So suck my dick. But it is unfortunate the way things played out last night. There are some good losses, and there are some bad losses. And do I even need to say which one was last night? The defense looked good for us, though. I mean, they held the Falcons out of the end zone until 6 minutes in the fourth. By then, it was over anyway. The game was lost. You could just tell by the way the players were walking, moving around, that it was over. The white flag was up and waving. The towel was thrown in. And that, it is what it is. Move on to next week, but I hate watching that. There was no fight in the team last night. Kevin O'Connell coached a terrible game. You can blame J.J. McCarthy for some of this, yes, but you cannot blame him for all of it. The wide receivers weren't really getting separation. Even when they were, J.J. had no time to throw the ball because the O-line was getting crapped on. The run game really couldn't get going. Jordan Mason had one really good run that was brought back by an unnecessary hold that really just ruined the drive. JJ had 2 interceptions. One of them was a really good play by the defender on the Falcons, so I'll give him that. And also, Jalen Naylor fell. The media won't tell you that. The second interception was kind of just a desperation. I think he thought it was a free play and just chucked it up. It didn't matter. I didn't care. Just a depressing game. I never, ever, ever I want to watch that game again. I want to burn all the film from that game. I want to break my phone. I want to delete Twitter. But I can't, and I'm not going to. Yeah. So, short memory. Hopefully we get back to it next week. That was not a good game. We had chances, but ultimately we could not get past ourselves. Going to the special teams. Shout out to Will Reichard. He's looked really awesome this year. He deserves all his flowers. I really like Will Reichard. It's good to have a guy like him on the squad. And he just looks goofy too. And then on the other facet of special teams, the return game, which was extremely good last week, Miles Price, shout out. This week, not so much. He could not get the ball past the 20 on kickoff returns. There's also multiple times, so with the new kickoff rules, when the ball is kicked into the end zone, you can take a knee and we could get the ball to 35. And he decided to return it out and would not even make it past the 20. He would get mollywopped. I would like to see him maybe take a knee, because in a game that we were losing the field position battle the entire night, it would have been nice to start from the 35, because we 3-and-outed a lot, and it's way better to punt from the 35 than the 20. You know, we can switch the field and at least give our defense a little bit of the upper hand, a defense that played really good. You know, when we're punting from our own end zone, it takes the Falcons 2 first downs and they're already in field goal range. Shout out John Parker Romo, Falcons kicker, former Vikings legend. I got to give him some respect. No hate to him. But yeah, all in all, horrible game. Horribly coached, horribly played. No way around it. You know, I'm not as pissed off as I was last night, which is good, because I would have said so many worse things on this podcast. But that's all right. Here we are. Just an embarrassing game. In a week with so much good football, college and NFL, for that to be your Sunday night game to cap off all those awesome games from 1 o'clock. You know, that's NFL for you, and that's for the Vikings. But getting back to it next week against the Bengals, 1 o'clock game. We're finally not on prime time. Please get us off prime time. We never went on prime time, and when we do, we surely won't do it again, especially 2 weeks in a row. Get us off prime time. JJ needs some 1 o'clock games, but not every single eyeball in America watching him. The pressure is tough for a guy in his second game ever, and people hate. And they're always going to hate him because he's an easy guy to hate for I don't know what reason, really. He's 1-1 in his first starts, his first 2 starts. It's pretty good. I like JJ. I really am hoping this all pans out, and I think it will. But we have to see next week. No Joe Burrow. It's going to be the Jake Browning Vikings legend revenge game. Well, there was a revenge game in 2023 that Jake Browning won against Nick Mullins. That was a classic game. We did lose, though, which stunk. But former Vikings legend Jake Browning. Here we go. Next week, Skol Vikes. Fuck the Falcons, fuck the Bears, fuck the Lions, and fuck the Packers. Skol.